There's not really an awful lot to talk about in this King's speech, rather, and there's certainly not a lot to encourage the people of England, Wales, Ireland, or indeed Scotland. And there's really nothing in the King's speech for Scotland other than more pain. The title of this debate, Making Britain a Clean Energy Superpower, the question immediately springs to mind, well, that sounds grand, but it won't help the people who are struggling to pay their energy bills. And what cost to Scotland? The government's North Sea Transition Authority is only really concerned with the transition of Scotland's wealth south into His Majesty's Treasury. In 2014, we were told, your oil is running out. You need the broad shoulders of the United Kingdom. Well, those broad shoulders were built on the poverty and deprivation of generations of Scots, and that's a price we are still paying. It often is said, and the member on the front bench from the SNP said it today, energy-rich Scotland and fuel-poor Scots. So let's just have a look at that. Energy-rich, well, there's no doubt that Scotland has vast energy wealth. According to the OBR, as of April 2023, the projected cumulative tax receipts from North Sea oil and gas for the year 2022 to 23 was £11 billion. And throughout my lifetime, Scotland has bankrolled the UK Treasury and global corporations to the tune of billion upon billions of pounds. In 2019, oil and gas production in Scotland accounted for 82% of the total UK production. By the year 2030, Scotland will be sending south 124 billion kilowatt hours of energy, all for nothing. That's 12.5 times the amount of energy that Scotland requires. For 8.1% of the UK population, Scotland is responsible for almost a quarter of the UK's green energy production, 85% of its hydro production, 82% of its oil and gas, 90% of its surface fresh water, and 50% of the world's tidal stream capacity. But we have fuel-poor Scots. In 2019, a quarter of Scottish households were estimated to be living in fuel poverty. I spoke to Energy Action Scotland yesterday, and as of the 31st of October 2023, fuel poverty now sits at a disgraceful 34%. In energy-rich Scotland, 1 in 3 households live in fuel poverty. That's why, in a Tory-made cost of living crisis, independence is the only urgent priority for the people of Scotland. For some time this winter, Tory mismanagement will really be a matter of life and death. And none of this is hyperbole. None of it is hyperbole. You only have to look at a direct comparator of Norway across the Channel, across the North Sea. We know that the Norwegian Sovereign Wealth Fund is equivalent to £1,175 billion. £1,175 billion. The Scottish equivalent is zero. The UK equivalent is zero. We know that successive Labour and Conservative governments hid the Macron report from the people of Scotland and hid the truth along with it. An embarrassment of riches, Gavin Macron said. He rightly predicted the riches that Norway currently enjoyed for Scotland but have been denied all along. And in return, we are chided from the benches opposite and alongside as scroungers. The destruction of our economy and our communities has happened under Westminster's rule, and still the robbery goes on. In the past, Scotland did enjoy some crumbs from the table. When I was younger, there was employment. There was employment in manufacturing, in supply chain, offshore. There was jobs. People were content with that, despite the robbery. And I listened very carefully to UK government ministers when they talk about the great bounty of Britain's energy that is truly Scotland's energy. And there's no surprise for me there. But I also listened to the leader of the former party of Scottish independence, and all he could muster was a plea for more devolution. He didn't mention independence once. And that's not all they've abandoned. The member for Murray was right to say that they've abandoned North Sea oil and gas. And that is unthinkable for any Scottish MP, let alone one from Aberdeen, north or south. Scotland faces challenges on two distinct fronts. First, our southerly government in London and its well-established rapacious greed. Secondly, a Scottish government who have abandoned North Sea oil and gas, sold off ScotWind for a song, capitulated to Tory tax havens on the Forth and Murray estuaries, and driven the case for independence up a cul-de-sac in the UK Supreme Court. They've parked the vehicle of independence and walked away from the aspirations of the people who want to live in a normal, independent country. And I plead with SNP members to get back on track. The Minister is free to correct me, but there is nothing in the King's Speech for my Kirkcaldy and Cowdenbeath constituents, and nothing at all for the people of Scotland. Scotland needs something more than this. We need more than a party that come to London waiting for independence to fall in their laps. It's time for Alba to lead Scotland.